Last week here on YouTube, I started doing my own tarot spreads. Last week was about self-worth. This week's tarot spread is going to be about relationships. Doesn't have to be a romantic one. It's any kind of relationship that this applies to. And it's going to be either this reading is going to resonate with you or it doesn't. If it doesn't resonate with you and you do your own tarot cards, you can use this spread for yourself. So let's get into the questions. So the first question is, what is something the collective can learn from this relationship? And I have the Eight of Cups, and this is the Eight of Cups from the After Tarot. So the usual meanings that you're used to for tarot, they're not going to be the exact same. Whatever this relationship is, something that you can learn from relationships. Now, this doesn't apply if the relationship is abusive in some sort of way. So it doesn't apply in those kind of situations, but let's say something that you can learn is just because a relationship isn't perfect doesn't mean you have to leave that relationship. Like maybe there's something to leave behind when it comes to a pattern that needs to be broken, a pattern that can improve the relationship that needs to be left behind. I would recommend looking at something over that than just straight up leaving the relationship. And second question is, how can the collective balance out their masculine and feminine energy to improve their relationships? And for that, I have the Three of Wands. So a good way to balance out your own masculine and feminine is realize that whoever you're with, you each have your own strengths and your own weaknesses when it comes to certain things. Like there are certain things that each group can delegate tasks to the other person instead of relying on one person to do everything. There is a balance that can be made with give and take on both sides. Third question is, how can you open your heart and mind when it comes to relationships? And I have the Eight of Wands. This is kind of like applying to, you know, the relationships that you already have, because I know one of the ways that this card can be taken is if there's new people coming into your life, but this is talking about people that are already in your life. One of the ways that you can be kind of open-minded and just show that you're open to have a relationship with somebody is if they're you know, inviting you somewhere or inviting you to do something, don't shut them out. It's by saying yes to going and doing something with them, you are showing that you want to have some sort of bond with this person. And then for 4, I have how can you better nourish your relationships? And I got the Six of Wands in reverse. There we go. Maybe you have a habit of comparing relationships that didn't, you know, friendships that didn't work out like you thought they would. Maybe you have a habit of comparing them to the ones that you're currently in, and this gives you some sort of anxiety about the relationship. But this is reminding you that just because those relationships failed in some sort of way doesn't mean the ones that you're currently working on will also fail. I want you to know that you are worthy of having, you know, decent relationships in your life where you don't feel this anxiety that this person is gonna screw you over in some sort of way. Next question is, what do you find difficult in relationships? And I got the Knight of Swords. But you might find confrontation in general to be kind of difficult in relationships, but in order to improve any sort of relationship, you need to be able to have confrontations with people. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be like rude or anything like that, and you don't need name calling or anything like that, because that sometimes people resort to stuff like that. But that doesn't have to be a thing in the relationship. And you also don't have to be afraid that someone's going to get mad at you for something. If that person has done something to make you think that anytime you bring something up to them, they're going to get aggravated then, or mad, whatever, or react in a certain way, I can see why you might have that anxiety. But sometimes you just have to get to a point where you don't care if you make somebody mad, and you just have to confront them. How does the collective need to surrender in this relationship? For that, I have the King of Wands in reverse. Something in a relationship that you might have a habit of doing is holding grudges, and the King of Wands in reverse is asking for you to let go of that. And I understand that whenever you're learning to not hold on to a grudge, that sometimes whenever you're first learning to do that, that can be a hard thing to just let go of, because saying it that way makes it sound so easy. But instead, look out for where you might be blowing a conflict out of proportion. The collective that I'm picking up on, I asked, what is your energy within the relationships that you're in? And I got the Two of Cups. So you are in relationships that you make sure to pick relationships where you feel loved and supported. So your mission for your relationships, is to make sure that you have this balance between just life in general and your romantic life. And then the other person's energy in this relationship, I got the Four of Wands. The other person's energy in this is just, they're very enthusiastic for their relationships. So this is an interesting one. This part of the spread's getting interesting. So so I have the Eight of Swords, and this is the other person's mission in relationships, which if you look at the imagery on the card, it's like other people are freeing them. And then I have the World in reverse. With the World in reverse, I'm getting that this is the type of person that expects closure from other people in order to free them from something. But closure that is something that can be offered. You don't need somebody else to give you closure in order to close off some sort of cycle or to free yourself from something. So I feel like on that person's energy was kind of an odd one to leave this video on. So I guess some last minute advice is, if you are dealing with somebody like that where they expect you to close off some sort of cycle for them, or to free them from something, it's in your best interest to take a step back from that person, and maybe that reflection time for the both of you will do your relationship some good.